Uh, Good morning, everyone. Before we begin the meeting, I would like to check for absentees. Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Yiizamy bin Sufyan.
Good morning, Mr. Jonathan. I am present.
Director Legal Officer, Ms. Irdina Zulaika binti Muhammad Hisham.
Yes, I am present. Good morning, everyone.
Senior Vice President of Policy and Organization, Ms. Alisa Faye Cyprianus.
Yes, I am present. Good morning, everyone.
Senior Vice President of Leadership and Strategies, Mr. Awang Nazrul Iqmal.
Yes, present. Good morning.
Good. Everyone is present today. Now, let us begin the meeting. As you all know, our company, Estate Corporation, is currently in the top 10 accounting and audit firms in Malaysia. We have provided internship trainings and job opportunities to many young graduates. In these modern times, a lot of graduates with different backgrounds are looking forward to work for our company, which leads us to today's issue: racial, national, and regional discrimination in hiring new employees and in the workplace. Now, why this issue? A study conducted by the Center for Governance and Political Studies has shown that the Chinese applicant has a higher callback rates than Malay and Indian applicants. This is not something that we want to happen in our company. Why? By having a focus on a specific race can lead to the bad reputation and image of our company. Therefore, we need to make sure that this issue can be avoided during the hiring process and in the workplace. To have a culture change in selecting new employees and in the workplace, it has to happen from the top. Now, anyone would like to suggest their idea first? Yes, Ms. Irdina?
Yes, I would like to go first. Alright, since this issue is involving the working environment, I would like to suggest that we implement team bonding and cultural exchange activities to be conducted as a mandatory to all of our staff regardless of their title. This is because, firstly, we can encourage them to socialize with one another. Did you know that some of our staff are introverted and they would like to stay within their bubble? Not to mention, some of them are only coming to work and does not have the time to socialize with each other due to being busy with their own tasks and agenda for the day. Next, the racial discrimination will be reduced as cultural exchange between all of our staff will take place as one of the activities. This is important because as our working environment has a gap between each culture differences between the races, background, and religion. Thus, there is a bias going around here unconsciously due to the differences. And also, Malaysia is one of the countries with a high context culture background. And I think exchanging cultures will educate us all to cherish the differences. Example of team bonding activities that we can implement is such as canoeing, monthly staff dinner, and having a road trip to various tourist attractions. That is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alisa and Ms. Irina, for the great input. Now, anyone else would like to give their ideas? Yes, you can go ahead to your point, Ms. Alisa.
Okay, so my suggestion is to implement skill tests during the hiring process of new employees. In my opinion, skill tests allow candidates to prove their listed skills on their resume that can contribute to the company. These skill assessments can help employers to determine the real capabilities of the candidates and identify high-performing talent who will be a good fit for the company. Employers should set criteria to be able to pick the perfect candidate, not only based on their criteria, but also based on the company who are discriminating candidates in terms of name, gender, ethnic, merit status, nationality, and so on. So implementing these skill tests can save us a lot of time in regards of hiring process, and it is consistent and fair as the candidates will be evaluated.
Thank you, Miss Alisa. Now, what about ideas from the others? No? If not, I would like to give my input. I propose that we should offer a language training for the new employee. They can take up online Chinese language class on weekends. I think this can reduce the language barrier in our workplace and boost their camaraderie. That's all from me. Mr. Nazrul, it seems like you have something to say. May I know what is on your mind?
Yeah, from my opinion, I would suggest that maybe a possible solution to eliminate discrimination, mainly in hiring employees, is through blind interview session. The method of blind interview session involves deleting all identifying information from the candidates' resumes and applications. It assists your recruiting team in evaluating candidates based on their skills and experiences rather than factors that may influence to judgments. It is important for the hiring team to evaluate candidates based on skills that they may be able to bring to the company. Do not let inadequate language skills be a barrier to hiring an excellent candidate. We are all aware that Mandarin-speaking applicants are likely to top all the callback rates from hiring companies compared to the other candidates. Also, the panels should not ask questions based on protected characteristics like racial, national, regional, marital status, and so on. For example, the interviewers should never touch about the candidate's health or disability until a job offer has been made. They instead should ask the same questions to all candidates when assessing essential criteria. Do not make assumptions about candidates based on their particular behavior because it may lead to an unconscious bias. The concept of unconscious bias holds that a person's life experiences influence their way of thinking without them realizing it. That is all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nazrul. Anyone else would like to give ideas? Yes, Mr. Yiizamy.
I do have something to say about Mr. Nazrul's suggestion. Speaking about blind interview, that is exactly what I wanted to say. I cannot believe that we have the same idea here, Mr. Nazrul. However, I do have something more to add on to this point. For my opinion, I strongly believe that we can have a different background of interviewer to minimize the biasness during the hiring process. This is because people from different backgrounds might disagree on more things among each other. But that is helpful to ensure that there did not favor any specific race among the applicants. More actions are needed to be done, such as discussion that will bring out a guideline during the hiring process. Thus, the most suitable candidates will be chosen according to the guideline that fits the job's description. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yiizamy. That's a great point you just added. Now, it seems like we have a lot of amazing ideas here. However, we should narrow down the ideas to only 3 so that our company can focus on the best solutions out of these ideas. Now, for the voting process, each person can only vote 3 times. We will vote using the raise hand button. Ms. Edina, please take note of the number of votes for each solution and the total and type it in the chat box.
Okay, will do.
Right. For the first solution, team bonding and cultural exchange. May I see how many raised hands? Okay. For the next solution, implementing skill tests during hiring process. May I see the votes? All right. For the next solution, language training to employees. All right. And for the last solution, line interview session during hiring process. May I see how many raised hands? All right, Miss Edina, you can post the result. All right, thank you, Miss Edina.
You're welcome.
Based on this result, we have decided to take the first, second, and fourth solutions. Can someone state the views on why they choose the first, second, and fourth solution?
Okay, so I'd like to state my view on the first solution.
Okay, all right, Miss Alisa, go on.
Okay, so I voted for team bonding and cultural exchange, not only because I agreed with Ms. Irdina's idea, but I also think that it is a good way to improve the relationship between colleagues of different backgrounds and at the same time boosts motivation and productivity to work with each other in the company. Hence, I strongly believe that doing team bonding and cultural exchange can encourage the employees to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses and gradually forming a deep trust amongst each other. That's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, good. That's a great idea, Miss Alisa.
Yes. May I explain why I choose the suggestion number 2?
Go ahead, Miss Edina.
Okay, so I voted for implementing skill tests during the employment of new employees suggested by Ms. Alisa. I really strongly agree with her point because in my opinion, this can actually help us to narrow down to the qualities needed for our company and also give the chances for the individual with different background to showcase their true potential in our company. Next is because that more and more high quality fresh graduates will be produced in Malaysia. You know, it is because that the fresh graduates will eventually feel the pressure to perfect their craft than to rely on their privilege to get hired. Thus, I believe that our company will climb on top of the ladder in the future and become the number 1 accounting company in Malaysia. Thank you.
I couldn't agree more with Miss Edina. Now, Mr. Yiizamy, can you elaborate the reason of why you are not choosing the third solution, which is language training?
I'm sorry, but I am afraid that I cannot agree with your point, Mr. Jonathan, which is providing a language training to our employees. This is due to the fact that language learning is a long process, especially when we are discussing about Mandarin. This language has been considered as one of the hardest languages to learn. Not only that, by offering a language training, it can also divert the focus of employees on their tasks. Instead of doing their tasks with laser focus, their mind will be full of Mandarin characters, thus leading to the decline of their working performance. Regarding why I support the idea of blind interview, this is because I believe that this suggestion can bring up a big change in our culture and hiring process. It can reduce the biasness of focusing only hiring or avoiding a specific characteristic such as race, national identity, and which region the applicant comes from. This is why I choose this suggestion as the best suggestion to overcome the issue that we are talking about in this meeting.
All right. Thank you, Yiizamy, for the great input. Now, before we end this meeting, is there anyone that would like to add on anything more?
No, Mr. Jonathan.
No, Mr. Jonathan.
No, also, Mr. Jonathan.
Not from me.
All right.
Jonathan.
All right. If no, let me sum up this meeting. In this meeting, we have decided to take on 3 solutions to overcome our issue today, which is racial, national, and regional discrimination in the hiring process and in the workplace. The 3 best solutions that we have decided on are team bonding and cultural exchange among employees, applying skill tests to the applicants, and blind interview sessions. And before that, I would like to thank all of you for the meaningful feedback, and thank you for participating in this meeting. In the next meeting, we'll be discussing further about these 3 solutions, and I hope it will be as successful as this one. The meeting is now adjourned.